So guys, used car prices are going way up, right? But on today's topic, it's going to be 5 cheap cars that fellow car enthusiasts respect, especially if you modify them. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Talking Mods. So on today's episode, as I said, we're going to talk about 5 different cars that are fairly cheap that you can modify, and they're going to get a lot of respect from fellow car enthusiasts because there is a following and a community behind them, and we as enthusiasts all discuss them on a daily basis. So in case you don't know, at Mod Bargains, I'm the CEO of Mod Bargains, 17 years of doing it. And, we have daily discussions in our offices. And one of those discussions is, hey, what's a cool car to grab, that's inexpensive and I can modify and it's going to have support and modifications. So, and the criteria for this one was really cars that were under 5,000. And so before doing this, I obviously went into research, wanted to see if I could find prices, and I did. And it kind of came up into became into 2 topics. So this is going to be part 1 of this series, and there's going to be a part 2. So I'll just film both, and you guys will get part 1 and part 2. Part 2 will be vehicles under 10,000. So if you have a bigger budget and one that you can modify with a little bit more money, then vehicles under 10,000. But for 5,000, these are just bargain. And hopefully the prices don't go way up. All right. So I'm going to jump right into it and go into each one of them. So first gen Miatas. You cannot deny that is a great deal.
A good deal. A good deal. This is a good deal.
Now you should be able to find them for under 5,000 or right around 5,000. These cars are famous on the autocross. They teach you everything. You've got a rear wheel drive. Yes, it's low horsepower, but it's going to teach you how to be nimble on the road. You can add modifications, you can add more power. They've got superchargers that are legal out there for it. They're still making components for it, right? So there's still coilovers being made. There's still plenty of brake pads, everything that you need, and the tires are cheap. So if you're going out to the track or you wanted a car that's affordable and something to really learn on, and it feels like a go-kart, these cars are so much fun to just toss around. A Miata is just a great car. It's a fun weekend car. If you're an enthusiast, highly recommend it. And they're fairly reliable. So if they're older ones, obviously you want to check them out. And again, condition is going to depend on the price. You could go over 5,000 easily, depending on the condition. So the second one is kind of a grouping of vehicles. It's the 90s Hondas. And specifically, I'm going to go into, it's the Civic EGs, the EKs, and one of them falls out and it'll be in part 2, but the coupe version of the 8th generation Civic, it's the last of the K20 motors, right? So it's naturally aspirated before they went into the turbos. You can still, if you look really hard, you could probably find one for just right there at 5,000, maybe even negotiate a little bit below.
Don't try to bait me, Miles. Now, if you have a proposal to make, let's hear it.
And again, these are front-wheel drive cars, but another lightweight, very fun, tons of modifications, very fun on the track. Just a very fun car, nostalgic, has that old school styling now these days, right? It's a new classic. And then actually I got to add in another one there, the Integras from that generation as well. Awesome, fun cars. I like them. You get a better, more plush interior. If you can find a good deal on one of those, grab one of those, especially in a manual if you can. So, fellow enthusiasts are always, we recognize it. We all know it, which one it is. Another one, it's going to be the 90s Jeep. Now, the YJ or the TJ. Now, the YJ actually came out in 1987. Actually, the YJ, if you don't know, it was dubbed the YJ by Chrysler because it was called the Yuppie Jeep. But you've got the YJ and the TJ. They've got huge communities, huge builds. If you're going to be exploring, if you want to go out off-roading, you can find these still for, close to $5,000. You can put on some, then you can spend the rest of that money into modifications, take it out. Obviously, you want to make sure that the vehicle's running right, but you can do that. I think it's a great off-road vehicle, put on some great suspension. I would invest in the suspension on that so you can go off-roading with it. Put the right tires on there. Depends on what you're going to be doing it. Rock crawling or just general off-road. I think it's a really, really fun, and especially when you modify it, it looks completely different. And it's kind of one of those things you could just take it apart. You can take, you can take the doors apart. You can make it your own. You can really modify it and really change the look. So I think you have a lot of options. I think it's a great enthusiast car. Gets a lot of respect in the community. The next one is going to be a sleeper. One that I don't think, as you're watching this, you are thinking of it. But it's the first gen Porsche Cayenne 957. You can probably get a V6, not probably, you can find them for pretty low, especially low price at $5,000. Some might run it up to the 6-7, but you could probably pick one up for 4 to 5. We're talking about a huge luxury vehicle that you can take off-road. It has all the off-road capabilities, and you can really modify it. Now, the problem with these cars and why it's a sleeper is the reason that they've depreciated so much in value is they're fairly unreliable. So obviously checking off, if you can do the maintenance on it, if you can make sure that it's running right, because the components are sometimes pretty expensive, right? But if you're going to be switching out the suspension, finding the right vehicle for you could be a big time sleeper. One that is going to basically way outperform the price of what you're buying, and you're getting a really, really nice, luxurious vehicle. I mean, I think that's my sleeper #1 hit, one that I don't think many people have considered. Looking it up, I thought it was a really good find. Guys, write down in the comments below what you think, because if you've got some ideas, I want to hear it, because I think sharing it with everybody across the board, vehicles that that are under 5, obviously prices are going to go up and they're sleepers. Now, number 5. Number 5 is an interesting one. As I said in the intro, prices just keep going up, and as enthusiasts, we're kind of also collectors. We want certain vehicles. But one of the cars that I think has always been awesome, it's just classic, right? It's got a lot of 80s movies references. It's been in a lot of movies. It's just a great looking car to this day, right? It's got that very vintage look. So that vintage look is what I'm talking about, is an E30 BMW. And you're probably thinking, well, they've shot up in price. If you look really hard, you could still probably pick one up for about $5,000. They have shot up in price. They are starting to move up. So if you can grab one now, because the prices are going up. They are starting to hover into the 7,000 range, and I've seen them start going even further than that. Obviously, condition is critical here, but this one, you're not going to go wrong. This one is going up in value. So if you buy one of these, you're probably going to make out in the long run, as long as you know what you're doing. You know how the Porsches, I mean, this is, a 993 or 80s Porsches, you guys already probably know, they're super expensive. They're going to 100 to 200,000 because they got that vintage look, right? And a lot of people want that vintage look. They want to be able to, they're just classic cars that we all love. Well, the E30 BMW is a classic vintage car that, as enthusiasts, we all love. I mean, a lot of the guys that, have been here, Mod Bargains, have them. It's a beautiful car. There's no denying it. So anyway, what do you guys think on that? And I'm going to give you guys a bonus, since I know you guys sometimes like my little bonus ones. I did say only 5, but I'm going to throw a bonus one because this is one that I'm considering. This is not a vehicle that you can just purchase. I'm just talking about a shell, since I try to keep it under 5,000. A Datsun 510, I think, is an awesome car to modify. If you can find a shell at around 5,000 for it, then you'll probably need to buy everything else. But again, that's not a car that's a full car. It's just a shell. So it's my bonus one that I think is just a really, really great vehicle. So guys, on the next one, I will talk about part 2, vehicles that are under 10,000, so stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. So hit subscribe, then the notification, and if you like this topic, hit the like. And guys, I will see you on the next Talking Mods.